listening to Out Cincinnati at 91.7 WVXU HD2 and 1660 AM, and that antenna located at the Church Rectory in Northside at Urban Artifact, and anytime at OUTCincinnati.com. Hi, Melissa.
Well, hi, Chris.
How's it going?
I am celebrating Madonna today. It's all about my queen.
Expand on Madonna.
Well, Madonna tweeted today, if you follow her on Twitter, because I do.
I'm going to fix that. Because I think I lose a notch on the card.
She's on Twitter a lot. Like, that seems to be her social platform of preference. I mean, she has other ones, but she's on Twitter
your girl.
So she's my lady. And so anyway, she says this week back in 1990, Vogue was the #1 song in the USA. And I just want to know if anyone else remembers Vogue. I do. And, like, can we talk about Vogue for a second? Because that was, like, a groundbreaking song.
The beginning of it with the drums at the beginning, and you just, you know it immediately, I think.
I think so. And
so Madonna, so that is a big deal for that song, and I'm sure she has broken so many records and milestones in her career.
Yeah, and just as it relates to the LGBTQ plus community, she was inspired to make the song because of dancers and choreographers Jose Gutierrez Extravaganza and Luis Extravaganza from the Harlem house ball community. And so anyone who's watched Pose, the television show Pose, that's the community that is showcased, right, in the show Pose.
But Pose is amazing. I need to. I mean, I just looked at the reviews. I'll be honest, but that is really cool. So Madonna's in the news. Are you going to throw on some remixes, or would you like the remixes, or do you like the original version?
I love them all. Now, I will say that for me, Madonna was, as a young woman, Madonna was very empowering to me, and as a lot of people in the queer community, she inspired. So I just want to say thank you, Madonna, for your inspiring songs. Thank you for telling us to express ourselves and Vogue and live out loud and be who we are and be fearless and be fierce. So thank you, Madonna.
Thank you, Madonna.
So who do we have on the show this week?
Who do we have on the show this? Well, I want to talk about just a little thing with COVID and things opening up in Ohio. There was some drama on Facebook with some places were going to open and they were going to follow all kinds of nice protocols, and they were really transparent about it. And what I heard was somebody picked up the phone and said, da, 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 and then they got a nice phone call from beside the point. I want to talk about Tilly's Lounge, and in case you don't know about Tilly's Lounge.
Wait, go back. You were spilling tea and then just abruptly stopped.
What I read was Bar A, that has 2 locations, was going to open up a certain location with severe restrictions, masks on the way in, and once you sit down, no crowding at the bar, and all kinds of good stuff. And there was a Facebook post about that I saw, and then I also saw, somebody told me that somebody picked up the phone or let somebody in government know that this was going to happen, and they got a proactive phone call from government basically, hey, are you planning to do this? Which I thought was weird, and that's just what I've heard, what I gleaned off Facebook. Yeah, so that first bar that was going to do the mask thing, walking in, and then seated table service, all that stuff. From what I understand on Facebook, it is not going to open this weekend. But Tilly's Lounge is going to Thursday 6 to 10, and then Friday and Saturday 6 to midnight. Space is limited, and Tilly's Lounge is located at 4042 Hamilton Avenue in Cincinnati. And if you have questions for them, 513-541-1414 or tillyslounge@gmail.com. Nigel, the owner, is amazing, and I think folks should get out and patronize that bar. It's going to be customer training, as they posted. That starts Thursday 6 to 10, where you have to kind of go learn how to have fun again, right?
Absolutely. And I hope everyone gets out this Memorial Day weekend because I know I will be getting outside doing some hiking, camping, going to places.
I think it's important because all things at an appropriate pace, and even I don't know the numbers. I haven't talked to Nigel, but even if it's like two people in the bar and like we talked about, Madonna's playing, and you're like having a Jack and Coke. I mean, that sounds like fun to me.
Well, they have outside. I mean, I know I took advantage of some outdoor restaurant seating to see my bestie, who I haven't seen in months, and so it was really great to get outside and do that and just be in the fresh air, have a drink served to you in a restaurant, sit, chit chat. They had a great tables outside and everything, and they had other areas kind of expanded outside on their sidewalks so that more people could have seating. So it was great, and I hope that people are able to get out this weekend and take advantage of some of those places where you can have outdoor seating and still stay safe and be with your friends and have a good time.
So it sounds like you got outside and really took advantage of that. And like I've been doing that too. Been getting out to local businesses, just trying to get carry out. It's expensive, but it's when you can do it, it's important to do. Melissa, have you ever been a fan of Days of Our Lives?
Absolutely.
Do you remember Dr. Craig Wesley?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's Kevin Spiritus, and I got a chance to I have his phone number, Melissa.
I'm not even going to ask how you got it, but
Well, I interviewed him for the show this week. It was very official. He was also a One Life to Live as Jonas Chamberlain, Rituals as Tom Gallagher, and even a brief stint on The Young and the Restless as Les. And he's done some Broadway
Y&R.
producing.
Now that's my show.
Which show?
Y&R, Young and the
Oh,
Restless.
young and the yeah. So he's done all that, and then a 25-year plus career, and he has a show, a really cool show on Amazon called After Forever, and it's about a guy who's with this guy for 15 years. I think they're married, but his partner gets sick and passes away, and it's really sad. And it's kind of a modern story showcasing that 40, 50-year-old gay man group, and which is something you don't really see in modern media. And it also tackles grief. So it's really groundbreaking on 2 points. And we'll talk to Kevin and see how he's doing during this out in LA during this COVID stuff, and catch up with him.
Who else are we talking to this week, Chris?
It is Pride season, or just about Pride. It's always Pride season, but I wanted to reach out because I was just on the internet the other day and I saw that New York City Pride was posting stuff and being really vague about events, and not that they're vague, but it got me to email them and say, what are you doing for Pride? Because, their in-person Pride's canceled, and, the march in New York is the Pride event. It's not like a festival. So what they're doing is a really cool drag marathon event for 3 days, and then they're doing kind of online thing in place of the march on the 28th, but there's not a lot of details to come about that, but it's going to be really cool. So we check in with Claudia, who's the works with communications in New York City Pride, find out what's going on there, because Cincinnati's not having one, and I don't think any place around is, so might as well sit on Facebook that day.
So we'll find out all about that coming up on Out Cincinnati.
Hi, this is Sarah from Mad Llama Coffee at the corner of Madison and Kenwood Road in Madisonville, and you're listening to Out Cincinnati.
You've seen Kevin Spiritus as Dr. Craig Wesley on Days of Our Lives. You might have caught him in Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, or Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2. Kevin has also been a successful Broadway producer. He joins us to discuss After Forever. Now in its second season, well, I guess it's wrapped up. Thanks for taking the time, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So how's quarantine going? I know that's at the top of everybody's mind. Have you finished Netflix?
I have not finished Netflix. I've been hitting Hulu, Amazon, and I'm kind of rotating them all and everything on YouTube. So, but I tell you what, I'm very blessed to be in this little house that I live in here in LA. There's 3 houses on the property. I'm on a back house, and it's got a garden and trees, and we're all kind of like, we see each other across the yard and we keep our distance. But I'm very blessed. I'm healthy. Everyone I know is healthy, and I have been wearing my mask when I need to go out and shop. So staying safe.
You didn't get out with all the crazies at the beach, right? You weren't.
No. I think it's a time to take responsibility, and it's a time to be very, very hyper aware of what is going on. And because this crazy virus is affecting so many people differently, who knows if you're walking down the street and the wind is carrying the virus, or if you lean up against something and you just don't know. So I think, on the other hand, I am actually someone who loves my independence, and I love my own time, and I'm a homebody, and I have a beautiful home, and I'm going through boxes and bins of old programs and scripts and pictures, and I'm scanning stuff, and I'm going digital, and I'm taking care of myself and working on things. Sorry.
That sounds like an opening to Portlandia right there. Like, I'm getting rid of all this. I'm putting it all digital. Like, I'm going through boxes and scanning. I don't know why I thought.
Well, I've got all this stuff.
Like a series.
I thought, yeah, and I've got all this stuff, and why not get rid of the stuff we don't really need? And
totally.
And I will say this though, this is all balanced within all of the stuff that my co-creator and producing partner Michael Slade and I and our producer Allison Van Noor, we had things on schedule for After Forever season 2 and moving forward ahead to season 3 at some point, God willing. But today, we've all been celebrating the year anniversary because a year ago today, After Forever became the first LGBT digital drama to ever win 5 Emmy Awards.
And I didn't put that in I didn't want to inflate the ego. I didn't put it in the intro. No, I'm kidding.
You can say that as much as you want. We love it.
I love it. I've seen the interviews, and the fact that it's a story about a couple of middle-aged 50-somethings and in a relationship and all of that.
Two men in their early 50s who have everything in life. They've got a great relationship. They've got great friends, great jobs, the great apartment, and one day, spoiler alert, one day in season 1, you find out that one of them has cancer and ends up dying. And it's Brian's journey from having loved so deeply and moving and maneuvering from loss into a healing and finding his way back through.
So that's kind of the beginning, and then what made you decide to do it as I might not have the right word, but a short, like they're 12, 13 minutes each? Well,
Michael Slade and I met about sometime 5-ish years ago, and we ran into each other at a New York gym, and he had written for Days of Our Lives just at the end of my contract, and I was, I had never met him, and we started to talk, and I asked him what he was up to these days, and he said he had been working on a couple of projects here and there, and some other things he was hoping to produce, and I said, I'm really turned on by web series these days, and I'm really interested. I think it's the new wave, and I want to create a story about gay men in their early 50s, and I had an idea to do a story about a gay man who is single and dating in the gay world, as we sometimes find ourselves. And it was that part of the conversation where he leaned in, and we both wanted to create something about men of a certain age, and bring their truth into the creative canvas of storytelling, because so many times they are disappeared or they are erased, and not unlike women in their middle ages. So we began working on these characters, and it was very interesting for Michael, because he was very excited about trying to tell a mini story, like a mini movie in each episode. And so many of these web series, as they started off, were just about being in one room or one set, and it was two people talking. And we found a way, and Michael so beautifully crafted a beginning, a middle, and an end to each episode, that we have these little mini movies, 8 episodes per season so far, and they're all about 10 minutes or so, give or take.
So it's a series, and you mentioned a third season. Is that going to happen, or is that
the third season is already written, and Michael and I, when we set out to create this, wanted to tell this story in a beginning, middle, and an end, so to speak, because we utilized the storytelling with Brian and Jason. Jason has died, and so the story is told through present day with Brian and his friends, and then there are flashbacks with Brian and Jason and their friends, and then there are moments where, if you haven't seen this, you'll understand when I'm talking about, when Brian is walking down the street and he has conjured up a conversation with his deceased partner, Jason. And it's, instead of having a soliloquy or a monologue about Brian working out some sort of issue, or, wondering what Jason might be thinking, he conjures up a conversation, and that's how we move into the storytelling. And the first season is really about watching their relationship, watching what their relationship was and how Brian loses Jason. And the second season is picking up about 6 months after first season ends, and Brian is in a new relationship, and he's trying to move forward, yet Jason...
There's trouble at the office.
Well, Jason is still very much a part. There is trouble at the office, and there's
right.
There's trouble in a lot of areas, but Brian is kind of blind to that, because he's working out his relationship to his deceased partner. And, when someone dies, the relationship doesn't necessarily end just because their body is gone. The love is still there. The relationship is still there. And there is a way of trying to balance it. And you also start to learn about the cracks and the hardships that the two had experienced during their 15-year marriage. So there's a lot to explore and a lot to look at and learn. And Michael's written such a beautiful story. I'm so proud of it, and he's proud of it, and I hope everyone can find some relating to this project, because we all deal with loss, and that's really what it's about.
Absolutely. And you're listening to OUTCincinnati. We're talking to Kevin Spirtas about this series. It's After Forever. It's on Amazon Prime, correct? Or Amazon
Correct.
Video? Okay.
Amazon Prime.
And there's two seasons available. I wanted do you see this series as kind of not a thing to help somebody through the process of grief? And if so, how did you decide, because it's such a personal thing, how did you decide what the character was going to go through, and that it would be helpful to people?
That's a really great question. Michael had, before I had met Michael Slade, he had lost his partner about a year or two before I had actually connected with him. And I had no idea that this had occurred. And that diagnosis that Jason gets in season 1 is the exact diagnosis that Michael's partner, had been diagnosed with. And
oh my God.
That's a personal story to Michael, where he was able to take the artistic view and create with that, and I think turn it into a beautiful, beautiful healing, if you will. When he had mentioned this about, why would someone like Brian, my character, be single, I just simply said, maybe because he hasn't met the right guy. And I asked him about his life, and he had explained the situation. And once he brought that up, we both kind of looked at each other like, we got to use this. And I think there's no handbook, there's no guide, and there is no roadmap on how to grieve. I think it is a personal journey, and I think everyone does it in their own way. I will say that anyone who has watched this, and from a lot of our fan mail and the letters we get, there are so many women, children, there are gay men as well, but there's women and younger people who have written us and talked about how beautiful they have been able to, excuse me, they've been able to look at their lives and see how they have had an issue or a situation very similar to the story of Brian and Jason, and they have been able to kind of ride along with it. And they're very kind and very grateful to have stumbled upon the story. I think we should talk about loss. We should, when we're ready to, enter into it and be very brave. But
because you see in the series, I remember one scene where it's two people just laughing their asses off about and just giggling. This is it's not all drawn. It's all
no.
I'm just saying it's like the pain of that eventual loss is like manifesting and giggling, and it's not wrong or right. It's just
exactly.
It's such a roller coaster. I can't imagine. I mean, we've all dealt with loss. That's why it's so relevant.
Well,
too.
Everyone's going to if they haven't. And I think also it's not. This is not just a whole. Oh my gosh, wring out your handkerchief and use 20 boxes of Kleenex. There is humor in the storytelling, and there is some great fun. I will say this: for as deep as someone is crying and hurt by someone's loss, and this has been for me, I know, it just shows you how much you have loved. You've loved that deeply for the pain that you are feeling and experiencing, my belief. And I think, like you said, they're laughing as deeply and as hard as they can to be matched by the pain and the tears that they are covering. So
right, I remember them sitting on the couch, and that one scene sticks out of my mind.
Yeah.
Convulsing in laughter. How do you portray these 40, 50-something gay men and their relationships and their groups of friends and avoid the tropes, and also how do you do character research? Like, how many different types of 40-something gay men are there that you can portray, if you will?
Well, I mean,
that sounds offensive, and I didn't mean it that way. I think
Michael and I wanted to tell a story that was personal to both of us. Michael and I wanted to create a story and create a situation that would be not only personal to us, but it would be, we were going to get our healing out of our storytelling. And I believe, and I think I can speak for Michael when I say this, when we create and we're working through something, if it's on point and if it's personal and if it's truthful, you're going to, or the viewer or whoever is observing this is going to maybe and hopefully see and feel that very same healing. And that's how I know I feel good about my work. When I go through a healing or I need to learn something, I go to the work. And hopefully you can get something out of that. That said, Michael and I, these people that we talk about and create and write about and act with in season 1 and 2 of After Forever are the people we kind of know. These are the kind of people that we hang with. These are the people that we associate with. And it's a slice of the overall. And, again, we wanted to create something about men in their early 50s or their circle. And so often it's the hot young, gay stud or the 80-year-old down the hall with cats who is the story.
I know both of them, by the way.
And so do I. But the story in between gets washed away or dismissed. And that is why we created these people. And this is why we told the story with these people. And some people are are very happy about it, and some people are like, well, I don't know these people, and that's okay.
And it's okay to not know them because it's, like you said, it's a slice of your own personal existence.
Yeah, and I believe
it's
anybody
also a slice of life you don't see in TV series, that age group.
Well, that yes, you do not see this. But I also want to say, I can't be responsible for something that I don't know. And we can do research. Michael can do research. We can spin story and spin characters. But I think when you really live it and you really know it, there's something else that happens in the creative process. And that's what I think captured the hearts and the pathos and the humor and the heroics of this particular story about love, loss, and moving on. And we get into it, I think, beautifully in season 2 as well. And season 3 will be a very wonderful cap once we get over this coronavirus and we can go back to work.
Oh, totally, and it's going to be interesting shooting a series with those new rules. But we're gonna get back, and
we're gonna do it.
Great. Yeah.
The world's going to continue on.
If you're listening to Out Cincinnati, I am joined on the phone by Kevin Spirtas. You might have seen him on Days of Our Lives and a couple slasher films. I wanted to ask you, Kevin, list all those slasher films, or at least the top 3 that come to mind.
You mean the slasher films that crown my title of the King of Slasher Films?
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
No, wait. What did my nephew called me the King of Slasher Film sequels? That's what he said. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2, the original. Albino Farm, and there was Subspecies 2 and 3. What else? I think there's another one. Something.
And there you have a quarantine list right there.
There you go. Absolutely. A lot of blood and a lot of sucking, biting necks and all that. So
what's something that people don't know about, I don't know, Friday the 13th?
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of fan stuff out there. People know
Part
stuff.
7, Part 7 was the one that I got to play in, and Laura Park Lincoln, who is the girl who survives, and I survived with her at the end of Part 7. She's just a good old gal from Dallas and Houston. I think the Houston area, or I think she's in Dallas. She's from Texas, and we just we keep in touch, and she's great. And Kane Hodder, who played Jason, and he played Jason in 4 different movies. He's great. He's believe it or not, he's a sweetheart under that Jason mask. And
is he going around with a mask nowadays, or is he?
No. But Kane does a lot of public speaking on safety because he had been in a stunt accident and was burnt, and he's such a great inspirational guy, and I love it. So yay, Kane Hodder.
No, that's amazing. I remember that story vaguely, and I think about that stunt accident. I want to ask you. I've been outside the Schubert Theater, and I cannot imagine
in New York,
Kevin knocking on that door unless I wanted an autograph or something. Like, what was that like? And tell folks what you did.
Well, this is interesting. You bring this up on April 29th, I think, or April 30th. I can't remember. Last week, Chorus Line, the original run, ended its run 30 years ago. And I remember in 1981, at 18 years old, knocking on the stage door of the Schubert Theater because I had heard they were going to have a closed call. And I wanted to audition, and I was new to the city. I had just been there a few months, and my friend said, take your picture and resume to the stage door. This wouldn't happen now. This just does not happen. You can't drop off
a closed call.
A closed call is a private audition. They call in people who they've either heard of or they've been wanting to see, and they make an appointment. And there was about 10 or 12 of us. That's about it. And they narrowed it down to me and another person, and Jerry Coker was the other gentleman cast at that time. And there I was, 18 years old, singing and dancing on Broadway. As the role of Mike Costa,
yes.
Who thinks I can do that.
Could the equivalent happen today? I don't know.
I mean, the casting situation is so different, and you know, that at that time was the longest running Broadway show. So, you know, after a show goes on for a very long time, maybe there could be, you know, there's this new kid in town, or this girl just got here from the Midwest. Let's check her out. Sure, I don't know. I can't even begin to think how that works. I just knew that I wanted to be in that show. It was my favorite show at the time. I wanted to sing and dance on Broadway, and I think my intention, coupled with my readiness and preparedness, created some sort of cross, you know, I don't know. My path crossed with the stage door. I got in. I sort of look at that as a universal crossing point. Same with Michael Slade and I, having met each other in that gym. I had never met him up until that point. He knew who I was, but that's After Forever was supposed to be born, and that's how that happened. So.
And then you ended up with a chorus line out in Los Angeles and got into television. And did you ever expect that to go that path? And then, I mean, where have you felt most at home, like theater or TV, or is it a mix?
You know, it is a mix. Television, film, and theater, they're all different muscles, acting muscles. They're all different in the sense that, you know, there's nothing like live audience and being on stage, and that other character in the piece or the play or the musical is the audience. There's nothing about the immediacy, and it's amazing. Filming is a totally different beast, and you do something on one day and you see it a year later. And maybe television, you're a couple of months ahead, you know. But I don't know. I miss theater, but it takes a lot of work, and it's a lot of energy. I still sing, and I tour. Well, I have toured with my one-man show here and there, but I'm all about creating stories right now that inspire and heal and bring people together. And I think it's one of the reasons why I love After Forever so much. And I also know that when the right role comes along, whether it's on film, television, or stage, if it's arresting to me, I'll be moving toward it.
Absolutely, and I wanted to ask you about Nights and Days. Would it be coming back to the one man show? And what
Nights
would you,
and Days, yeah.
What would you add to it? I mean, because I could see that coming back, or would you change it any?
You know, Night and Days is about my nights on Broadway and my days on Days of Our Lives. And
did I add an S where I didn't need
It's okay.
Okay.
It's common. It's common. Night and Days is about my journey from Broadway to Hollywood and back to Broadway, and it's classical Broadway music, and it's a very specific show, which I still love, and I do parts of it here and there. I have been looking at creating a new show called Love Don't Need a Reason, and it's about all different kind of love songs, American songbook, classic, Broadway, and pop all together. And then I also want to do, you know, I stood by for Hugh Jackman in The Boy from Oz on Broadway, and
yes.
I never got to go on. And I love Hugh Jackman, don't get me wrong, but I also love Peter Allen's music, and I want to do a show called Peter and Me, or Peter in the Background, something of that effect, because Peter Allen's music to this day still holds my attention and captures my heart, so that I want to create with that. So I don't know. It wouldn't be a Boy from Oz type story. It would just be a celebration of Peter Allen's music. So I'm working on all these things. I've got plenty of time right now in quarantine to do it. So
yes, I mean
I'm working on Quarantunes.
You zoom until your face turns blue. Yes, Quarantunes. Folks need to check out this series on Amazon. If you have the Amazon anything where it's the Prime, you can grab it. It's very easy.
If you're in the United States and the UK, you can go to Amazon Prime and you can check out After Forever, the series. And you can also, if you don't have Prime membership, it's pay-per-view on Amazon as well. You can also go worldwide, anywhere in the world, at bingenetworks.tv. bingenetworks.tv, and you can pay-per-view both seasons. There's also some, it's in Spanish subtitles there, and it's also, there's a couple of special little pieces we put together behind the scenes. So there's some really
nice.
good stuff. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to check that out because I like those little extras. Thank you so much, Kevin, for coming on Out Cincinnati, and keep us up to date with what you're up to, and would love to have you back, and stay safe.
Thank you. You too, my friend.
Hi, this is Sarah from Mad Llama Coffee at Madison and Kenwood Roads in Madisonville. You can support us during this time by ordering pickup or delivery at www.madllamacoffee.com.
Listening to Out Cincinnati. Times are strange, and Pride events that we're used to attending in person are starting to adapt. New York City Pride is no stranger to that, and Claudia is the communications coordinator for New York City Pride. Thanks for being on Out Cincinnati.
Hi. Well, thank you, Chris, for having me. Again, my name is Claudia Grieb. I am the communications coordinator for New York City Pride, and I'm so happy to announce or to talk further about some of the events that we have coming down the line, and maybe tease a few other things that are coming down the line in June.
Perfect. Because I know that, and I know you're in New York, so first of all, how are things there? Because I see it on TV every day. I see Cuomo on TV talking about stuff. What's it like day to day?
Yeah, day to day, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. I personally haven't been outside in a while. I mean, people sometimes go out to the parks with their masks. New York State has been giving out masks in all public parks to anyone. While the sun has been coming out, people are aware that that social distancing is still in effect. But people are very much staying at home otherwise. I haven't been outside in weeks, and that's kind of how it is so far right now. People just go out for necessities, maybe go out for a walk here or there, but that's about it.
No, that sounds completely fair. Like, the only thing I really can't do a mask for is when I go walk the dog, just because they'll have to peel me off the ground, and that's just me. But everything else, I'm really trying. I know it's a thing, and I can't stand folks who are like, I won't do it. But
right.
It's neither here nor there. So how is first we want to talk about drag, because I know there's like a solid week of virtual drag performances, right?
So it's going to be 3 days, from Friday, June 19th to Sunday, the 21st. We're having a slate of over 100 drag performers, diverse in all sorts of ways, performing with John Marty, who is a drag staple here in New York City. And obviously you can't have Pride at all without some sort of drag experience. It's just a staple for the community, something that we absolutely love, and we're super excited to be holding this event in tandem with John Marty and the Only Productions.
So Claudia, like, what's the platform for this drag event? Is it Facebook Live? Is it on the New York City Pride website? What's the best way to experience that?
Yeah, so the best way to experience this would be through Facebook. We're gonna be posting the link once it's available on our website. The event is live right now on our web pages, but we will be posting the link to be streaming live through Facebook once it is available.
And the website for New York City Pride is NYCpride.org, correct?
Yep.
So all the
NYCpride.org. Mm-hmm.
And who just drop some of the names, because I mean I got the list, but just a lot of folks who've seen this season on RuPaul's Drag Race, a lot of folks who've been on that show before. Who can we see on this virtual Pride event?
Yeah, so some of the names that we can expect are RuPaul's Heidi N Closet, Nikki Doll, Sugarcane, Brita Filter, Honey Davenport, Jiggly Caliente, Dusty Ray Bottoms, and so many more. There's over 100, but those are some of just a little bit to tease what we have in store for Drag Fest.
So you're listening to Out Cincinnati, and Claudia is the communications director for New York City Pride. Have you been watching this season of RuPaul?
I have to catch up. I know I'm being a horrible person by not.
Not at all. I mean,
right?
there's seasons I've skipped just because I wasn't into it that year.
I haven't been able to catch up, honestly. So you're gonna have to fill me in on that.
Oh, I'm so okay. No, I mean, I'm just when I saw Heidi in Closet coming, because she just got eliminated, which was unfortunate. I'll share with you something funny. RuPaul kept changing her name throughout the season because Heidi in Closet is such a awkward drag name, and Heidi was agreeing with Ru. So it was Heidi Aphrodite, Heidi Heidi whatever, and so I think Heidi's going to take that and be like, I'm Heidi blank, and just run with it. So yeah, but it's
going to change her name up every time.
Yeah, it is a cool season. So 3 days of drag, and then who is, just for folks who aren't aware of New York City, kind of the history there, who is Marty?
All right, cool. Yeah, no, Marty Gold Cummings, they're a New York City-based drag artist, television personality, and activist, and they brought this idea forward to us, and we love the idea. They put all of the performers together. We reached out to some more. People just were so excited to be a part of something like this. I know that personally I've been seeing so many people reach out on our socials to see what possibilities were for NYC Pride to put on some sort of virtual drag, and Marty just took a hold of that experience on social and put everything together, and we're so excited to make it a possibility not only for performers but for everyone in our community.
And what is I was reading there's a way to kind of support performers as well, because one thing folks kind of might not be aware of is, this drag's kind of been shut down and it's been Facebook Live, and well, that's free and it's hard to get tips. So how can folks kind of help performers during this as well?
Right, absolutely. So there's going to be Venmo links and Venmo handles that are going to be posted beforehand on the event page on our website and on Facebook. So anyone who joins the stream, more than welcome to support the performers through their Venmo accounts.
That is an awesome way to give back. So, and then you're going to have, with New York City Pride on the 28th, there's going to be some kind of virtual event, and I was kind of joking with you before the interview, like, what's the tea on that? So what is the tea on that?
Oh my God. So the 28th, it's something that we've been working on for so long, and we're so happy that it's come to fruition and that it's moving forward. So the 28th is going to be our special NYC Pride broadcast special with our partners at WABC here in New York City. Every year we have a broadcast for the march that runs at the same time. And this year, Channel 7, they were more than happy to continue partnering with us on such an important year, the 50th anniversary of the first march that happened in June of '69. And we're so excited for this partnership that we've had with all of our performers, all of our talent that we've secured. And we're honoring such great people as Grand Marshals this year, Dan Levi, the Ali Forney Center, Yanzi Pang, Victoria Cruz, and some talent that you can expect to be doing some living room performances. Janelle Monáe, Billy Porter, Deborah Cox, Luisa Sonza. So many people are on the docket, and we're so excited to see the broadcast.
So just so I'm clear, it's all virtual. The 28th is going to be all the living room stuff, all that at home. Nothing. Is there an in-person march at all, and can people get involved? Or how can people get involved?
So this year it's like you said, it's going to be virtual. This year because of obviously the global pandemic, and New York State has already canceled all in-person events. We are not holding in-person marches. We are highly taking into consideration the safety of the community. above all else. So all of these instances are going to be virtual for this year. There are going to be a lot of social opportunities to engage that we are going to be rolling out as June comes closer. But this is going to be an all virtual event.
That is really responsible, really awesome. So I want to ask you, Claudia, and by the way, Claudia is the communications director for New York City Pride, and I love your city, and I was telling you, living vicariously through you, like, what is your typical New York City evening before all this COVID's, seriousness happened? I was saying I go for Junior's Cheesecake and Phantom of the Opera, and I'm a total princess, I know. So what do you like to do in New York?
Oh, that's such a fun question. I am a born and bred New Yorker, and sometimes I really fall into that stereotype of we're working. I volunteer for a lot of organizations, so my day is usually going to work pretty much up until late, and going and volunteering on some other board activities and maybe doing some other volunteer work. If it's a day off after work, then I'm either hanging out with some friends in the village around the NYU area, getting some drinks or going to the movies, and then really just coming home super late, enough to just shower, cook some food for the next day, drop into bed, and then start it all over again. So a typical evening looks just like that for me.
But back to New York City Pride, we have got bunches of drag between the 19th and the 21st, and then we've got the 28th, which is kind of the replacement of the parade, which is the big deal in New York. That is New York City Pride, correct? There's no festival, it is the parade.
Well, we call it the march, not the parade.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's always marching for rights, for equality.
Oh, because in Cincinnati they say parade, so I'm just kind of used to that.
No, I know. We always do, within NYC Pride, we always say it's a march because we're marching for equality.
I love that.
Going back onto our mission statement. And, the world sees us, and we just want everyone to remember that we're fighting for a cause. People may see the celebration, but it's definitely always going back to the purpose behind everything, that we fight for the kid in middle America who doesn't feel safe, to the person in whatever part of the world where it's illegal to just be the person who they are. So we always make it a point to shout out the fact that it's not only a celebration, it's an activist point of view. It's activism, it's fighting, it's educating in the most, peaceful way that we can, and always putting a smile on people's faces, which segues us into other events that could be possibly coming down the line in June.
Nice. So other Pride-related events, and folks can go to nycpride.org to get updates. I know there's a lot of TBA coming soon there, so it's a lot of cliffhanger stuff. But there's a lot of cool stuff down the line, and just from the press release with the drag artists, I'm so excited for that. nycpride.org. Thank you so much, Claudia, for coming on Out Cincinnati, and stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Amazing to learn about what's going on for virtual New York City Pride.
That is so cool, and it is really amazing to see how people have just come up with very creative ideas to continue having events and celebrations despite the fact that people can't be in large groups right now. So, good job.
It's gonna be amazing. On June 28th, they're having because New York City, what I've understood, and I know a lot of folks in Cincinnati who make pilgrimages to go to New York City Pride. It is the march that counts, and I was told by Claudia, the communications person, that they call it a march, not a parade, because it's a march for right. Pride Fest, and shout out to Milwaukee Pride Fest. Look them up. They do amazing work. That was my first actual Pride Fest thing. So all in our own time. And also I was thinking, I asked Claudia about the silver lining of this COVID stuff, doing it all online. it's like that kid in Indiana or that small town, you name it, can go to a Pride event like New York City caliber from their couch on the iPad.
And the outreach is incredible. And I think that the connections that people are making online, it's really, I mean, it's just amazing to me. And I think it's terrific that people can, exactly like you said, someone who can't really ever participate in something is now being asked to participate or being able to participate, and that's a beautiful thing.
And you know what else is really beautiful? Transition radio. I love Cincinnati magazine's Pride. I saw the cover. They have a Pride edition coming out in June.
Do tell.
And there is this beautiful couple on the cover, and they're standing on these steps that are the rainbow flag color. And I asked them, I said, are those really the color? Because I got to go see those steps. And they said, no, it was after. So next week, we're going to talk to Le Camerons, I think is how they say it. But I was a French major, so I would say Le Cameron. Excuse me.
So beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm going to speak to them. And this issue is beautiful because they talk to so many people in the community kind of about what the status is of Pride with all this cancellations and how we're not going to get together and it's all going to be Facebook Live and all that. So that's what the issue does. And we'll get into that with the folks on the cover. They're actually both dancers, really, really cool dancers. So we'll get into that with them.
Je m'appelle Melissa.
Je m'appelle Chris. and I give French lessons. I have an ad on Craigslist. It's far from my other ad. Also speak to John Farinini and I love saying his name, from the San Francisco Bay Reporter. He's done really good work, really good journalistic work on COVID-19 and how it impacts the LGBT plus community. So I called him my correspondent and he loved it. So we'll check in with him next week on Out Cincinnati.
And just a reminder to our listeners, if you would like to support Out Cincinnati, you can find out more information at our website at OUTCincinnati.com. And if you would like to contact us, you can look us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or shoot us an email at outcincinnati@gmail.com. You can catch the podcast version of our show on Apple Podcast or YouTube. Thanks for being with us this week. This is Out Cincinnati, streaming live on radioartifact.com, 91.7 WVXU HD2, and at 1660 AM.